Once the grower has selected the stem of orchid that he wishes to enter as a cut flower, the plant should be well watered for 2 days prior to the day when the stem is removed from the plant, which would preferably be the day that the stems are to be packed for transport. This is so that the stem will absorb the moisture to sustain the stem once cut off. In the case of cymbidiums, the raceme should be supported by a stake and the raceme tied to the stake. The stake should be approximately 10 centimetres below the bottom of the vial so that when the raceme is displayed, the stake supports the stem and the vial, preventing it from being misplaced. Cut flowers are better staked, especially the upright cymbidiums, as over time during a show they will begin to droop if not supported. New vials should be used as the rubber caps perish over time and therefore will leak. Boxes used for packing are usually only 15 to 20 centimetres and oblong, but you can also pack them into a carry-on case to place in the overhead locker on the aircraft. Bringing boxes into Western Australia under no circumstances use any type of fruit box, as these are confiscated. If you have short-stemmed cut flowers, a box the dimensions of a banana box would be ideal, but do not use a banana box for reasons previously mentioned. Remember that if you are packing for international aircraft travel and taking the cut flowers as onboard carry-on luggage, you will need to count the amount of water in the vials as part of your onboard liquid allowance. This is not a requirement for domestic travel. When purchasing the tissues for use in packing the flowers, try and obtain thick and large tissues and preferably non-scented variety. The backing paper for Cattleya and Paphiopedilums used here is white cartridge paper because it is soft but thick. However, you can also use A4 copying paper. Cartridge paper is available from educational suppliers. Circles are created using a side plate as the template and then cutting around it. Cut through the circle nearly to the centre in one place and then cut a small circle large enough for the stem of the flower to slot through, and then you can sellotape the circle sides together, making a rear bonnet for the flower, which should sit inside the bonnet. Then place single tissues behind the petals and also around the labellum or pouch to protect it. It is best to support the Cattleya and Paphiopedilums by tying them to wooden skewers. Otherwise, the flower will be able to easily rotate and spin around in the vial. Always remember to attach a label to the cut flower stem so that when unpacked at the destination, people will know the name of the cut stem. When placing the cut stems into the box, the bottom row should be sticky taped to the bottom of the box. Growers will need to provide a list of the names of the cut flower stems. Try and organise a production line of assistants. For example, one to write and put the labels on the stems, or provide the growers with the labels and the list beforehand, and one to stake and wire the stem. Another to fill the vials with water, put caps on, and hand them over to the people packing the blooms. You can make up a stand for the stems to stand in until they are ready to be packed. Always ensure that the stems are carefully laid into the boxes. Pendulous cymbidiums, vandas, etc. can be laid on top of the cymbidium, Cattleya or Paphiopedilum blooms gently. Make sure that they are completely covered by the packing material that is used, either the pieces of polystyrene or the wadding fibre fill used here. The wadding fibre can be obtained from a store such as Spotlight. This is usually used for pillows, cushions, quilts or making soft toys. Once the top has been placed on the box, make sure that it is taped with packing tape in at least 3 places across the width of the box. If you have more than one box of blooms, usually you would tape 2 or 3 together, as this way the cost is reduced if you are charged. Always mark the boxes fragile. Make sure that you have your name and any other relevant details on the box. When you are ready to unpack the orchids at your destination, carefully unpack them and make sure that the vials are topped up with more water to sustain the stem whilst on display.